Jules Radio Show.
How are you, mate?
Good. How are you, Peter Sidgreaves? Happy New Year for 2023. How are you?
Yeah, good. Good, thanks, Stephen. And, Happy New Year to you as well. Hopefully it's filled with prosperity for you.
Me too. I had COVID-19 over Christmas, and my grandparents, we had a bad 14 days. It got me really good. And then I've had my fourth vac booster shot too.
Yeah, right. Yep.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I've heard a few people have it recently, and some people, still some people, they don't even know they've got it, and others, when it gets a hold of you, like it can actually take, particularly with, I've heard from a number of athletes who have got it, and their breathing can actually really impact their breathing over a longer period. So it's quite interesting how it's, how much is changing, or some of the impacts it's having. But yeah, so you're better now though.
Yeah, slowly recovering, I mean, the new, I think it was the XBB variant coming from China. And,
oh, yes, yep.
I think Xi Jinping, they're trying to get a whole zero COVID policy, but this is crazy. This new variant avoids the vaccine immunity. I don't know what's going to be the future of COVID-19, Peter.
I don't think anybody really knows, to be honest. And that's why I think we just need to learn to live with it, unfortunately, or for many reasons, fortunately. So, it's just one of those things that, I don't think even the most expert people in the world could predict, when and where the next variant may show up, and what, and even, will the vaccinations that we've all had, will they be sufficient? And what I've heard about the latest one that you appear to have had through, that's in China at the moment, is that specialists are saying that the COVID vaccine that we've had in Australia, that should be covering that one as well.
Yeah, my problem, I had low antibodies to it after talking to a GP.
Yeah,
but,
okay.
No, it's a real thing, Peter. Just my experience, just felt so fatigued and tired, no appetite, muscle cramping, really got me hard.
Yeah, right. Yep.
And I'm a fit, young, healthy guy who's always active all the time. And you just don't know, Peter.
No, you don't. And, I don't think necessarily whether, like a lot of people I've heard that have had it recently are young men, right? And I'm not suggesting that you think that you're bulletproof, but maybe a lot of young guys do. I'm sure I thought I was when I was in my early 20s, whatever it might be. So.
But I watched the South Park Pandemic special on Paramount Plus. It was quite funny, actually. Have you seen it?
No, I have not seen it, no.
Check it out. It's all about what the future of COVID and the streaming wars. You got to watch that one too.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
Talking about all the streaming services that we're living in at the moment. But Elon Musk brought Twitter, which was good. You on Twitter?
Well, I'm not so sure. Look, I'm not a huge Twitter user. I use it for reading and following a lot of organizations of interest to me. I don't really tweet a lot. I'm not a big fan of Twitter, to be quite frank, but I accept that there are those that have. I was interested to note, though, that he actually obviously, in terms of operating and running Twitter, he put that tweet out, and I think it was about a 57-60% vote that suggested that he shouldn't be running the organization as well as owning it. So if I'm right, he stood down, I think.
Look, I support Elon Musk. If he can come up with his own version of a phone, we know that the cancel culture with Apple and Google, what's happening, they take certain apps down from the store. If he came up with a Tesla phone, I'd like that,
Yeah, look, there's no question that we need people, and more Australians, I think. Not that Elon is, but we've got other, Australians are in high-tech business, Atlassian owners and so forth. But, I think we need, these people who innovate and can, change the world in their area of expertise. for the positive. But I've always thought about social media. It has so many great benefits, but you just got to be cautious of things like online bullying and not to mention spam and all the rest of the threats that come online. But it's obviously a positive thing, but there are always negatives that come with it that you got to be mindful of.
Well, TikTok
Go ahead.
was spying on young children and tracking all their data from China, and I think there's talk about the American government's going to ban them, and they were profiting off refugees in Syria with live streaming. And then it's a Chinese company, Peter, and I'm thinking, how do they get away with that? TikTok.
Well, they shouldn't be able to. It's a bit like, so we know, and then we need to be very mindful of it. It's actually, China in terms of online technology have been, and I'm assuming will continue to be, a threat. Like, their hardware, some of their hardware that they used to ship, they were found that, that they had chips in there where they could actually access switches and routers that they were putting out, and other devices like WeChat, that's another Chinese platform. I'd be very cautious, and I don't use any of those. And I've got a daughter rather going into high school next year or this year now, and I'm very mindful of what apps and what level of security and encryption apps use to protect her personal information as well.
Exactly. Have you thought about using Gab Social or Getter? They're like a Republican Twitter alternatives, because I'm on there, and I find they're good for me too.
Look, as I say, I probably don't have enough time, to be honest, to start looking at other platforms. So I kind of stick to, certainly from my, for my role, I just stick to both Facebook and Instagram. But I can't say I use either of them totally a lot outside of work. So I think there's a lot better things we could be doing in life, more active things, particularly when I've got 4 young children. I spent the Christmas and New Year break. We're out almost every day doing something. So rather than sticking at home and, on their iPads or in front of a television and so forth.
Yeah, and that's what you got to do. You got to get outside as much as you can. You've been watching the cricket or keeping up to date with cricket?
Yeah, I've always been a big cricket supporter, and to watch the Test matches and the Sydney Sixers in the BBL. So no, I've always been a big cricket supporter. Yeah, it's been good.
How do you feel about the Australian captain, Pat Cummins, trying to talk all climate change, and they're trying to drop a lint to energy? This is the Australian captain, Peter, trying to get all political correctness.
Yeah, I think that and I'd say this, and I'm not going to pick on the Australian cricket captain. I'd say that sporting professionals should basically stick to the sporting professionals. If they want to have individual sponsorships outside of the main game, then that's fine by me. But if a sport such as cricket is sponsored by Atlanta Energy, my view is they should stay out of that. That's the decision for Cricket Australia.
Yeah, he's trying to get Pat Cummins trying to get people to use solar panels, going around talking about solar panels. Look, there's no question he's a fantastic cricketer. I guess people have their own view as to what he should be commenting on outside of cricket. I just don't think the captain of a country should be using that privilege and that audience, I guess you'd say as well, to be promoting individual ideas. Look, I don't like the way the Australian cricket team's gone. It's all gotten political. They sacked Justin Langer. I miss the old days when Shane Warne was playing. The old days were better to watch.
Yeah, there's no question it appears to have got more political. I don't know if it has got more political, but, I've grown up with cricket. I used to follow cricket tours around New South Wales. My father used to drive us around, and since I was probably 4 or 5. So I've been watching, and we've been members of the Sydney Cricket Ground. So I've been watching cricket for as long as I can remember. But it does seem to have got more political. I can only say this as a spectator. I was a bit disappointed with the way that Justin Langer was treated after the recent success he had. Look, but we can't dwell on that. But my view is that he's certainly a great bowler. He certainly has great knowledge of the game. He's probably also a good captain. I just think he should keep some of those opinions. I can say the same about politicians as well, mind you. Keep those opinions to himself.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you see now in sport, they want to take a knee to end racism in sport. And I think that's what's throwing people off the game of sport now. It's getting all political everywhere, Peter.
Yeah, and look, I know, I think if the shoe is on the other foot, like they see themselves as in a position where they've got access to a wide, audience, and they can promote messages that they believe is right. Look, I just think messages should all be about trying to unite, particularly, let's say, Australia. We want to be putting messages out there that unite us, not divide us. And that's my view on any comments that are made by anybody or any actions, I guess you could say, when we talk about taking a knee. At the end of the day, people will make their own choice on those individual players as to whether or not they agree or whether they disagree. But for me, it's just about putting messages out there, actions, words that unite us, not divide us.
Exactly. I mean, being a cricket fan, it is hard to make the Australian cricket team. Not many people can. It's just so competitive to get in it.
No, it is, and it's particularly in the bowling these days, it's very competitive, which makes it very hard for good young bowlers to get into the team. But there are always opportunities, and I think even at the highest level, we've got there's always one or two really good fast bowlers that will never make every single game. Look at Mitchell Starc, how I think he's a great bowler, but he's for his own fitness, he's not always there. Josh Hazlewood didn't play all tests, nor did Boland. I think we've got a really good choice in terms of bowlers. I think the batting team is certainly now getting there. I shouldn't say that. That's a baseball term as far as I'm concerned. But the batsmen or batswomen in the Australian women's team, I think we're certainly actually forming a solid structure there with more of a new. We've got still got David Warner there and Steve Smith, but getting some youngsters coming through. I think Marnus had a fantastic series again. I think he's a great young player. Brings another dimension to the team. So.
Well, speaking of David Warner, so remember the ball tampering? It's like the Daily Telegraph get his kids involved, which is just shame. Like they can't get over it, Peter.
Look, it shouldn't. My view is that, did he do the wrong thing? Yes, they did. Stephen Smith, I could say something about him. They've done their time. It should, the whole slate should be wiped clean. But beyond that, they certainly shouldn't be involving people's families.
Exactly. But this year, do you have an election coming up this year, Peter?
We do. We have an election on Saturday, the 25th of March, so not far away now.
And what are your plans if re-elected?
If re-elected, there's certainly some more things I certainly want to do. And, we're talking about, we have a Spring Farm Parkway, which will be the third link between Camden and Campbelltown, which will take pressure off both Kruger Hills Drive and Northern Road. That's already started construction at the Menangle Park end, and my view is that it is to be done sequentially, which means that while stage 1 is being built, they'll do all the planning for stage 2, so that essentially when stage 1 is complete, they just continue on with stage 2, so there's no time break. So that's certainly one of them, and that's to fast track the Spring Farm Parkway to be opening sometime in in the next few years. And then there's also other things such as we need a new high school. There's no question about that in my mind. In the growth areas of Gregory Hills, Gledswood Hills, and Leppington, or East Leppington, if you like, West Leppington, I should say. But other things as well. Duplication of MacArthur Bridge. That's something that I'm very passionate about. When you've got you've got the Camden Fire Station on one side of the bridge, and you've got the Camden Ambulance Station on the other side of the bridge, and it's a single lane bridge, and even at the best of times, you can't have emergency vehicles with their sirens on overtaking anybody because it's only a single lane bridge. Given its length, I think it's about 1.2 kilometres or thereabouts. It really slows down that emergency vehicle traffic. So, and then we all know when during flood periods, which we've had 5 in the last 2 years, that they just can't get through at all. So when it's the only way in and out of Camden and Camden South, and Razorback for that matter, just makes it really dysfunctional. I think I'm not an expert, but I don't think it can be widened. I think it would need to be duplicated. But that's one thing that I've been pushing for a couple of years now, a bit longer, and I'd like to see it happen. So
there are lots of
things still to go.
I'd like to see all the potholes get fixed.
Well, certainly, in terms of the state government, we have provided funding to councils who are responsible for those potholes. Certainly, if it's on state roads or federal roads, such as the Hume Highway, or an on the road in a state's case, we should be doing those as well. But your local roads that we see a lot of potholes on, they're council responsibility, and it's hard to get them all knocked over when we've had, as I said, like in 2022, we had 4 floods.
I know.
So, but you'd hope with some dry weather that we've had over the last few weeks, that we should be able to get those properly repaired.
One day. I want to say thanks for coming on the show too, Peter.
That's all right.
It's always great to chat with you too.
Yeah, always good to chat with you too, Stephen, and I'm happy to do it at any time. So, anything else you want to talk about today?
Yeah, look, let's hopefully, Campbelltown Hospital, it's always a madhouse around there, Peter. You can't even get parking. They've just renovated it too, but why the hospitals charge?
There's a brand new car park in there though.
Yeah, why do the hospitals charge you money to park your car? I've never understood that.
Well, it happens at all public hospitals across Sydney.
Oh, okay.
It's not unique to Campbelltown. So, for example, I've got a sister who works at RPA in Camperdown, and they've always had paid parking.
Even the workers?
For right or for wrong. Yeah, so like she's a midwife there.
And she has to pay for parking?
Yes, she does. Yep.
Oh, shit.
But that's, as I say, it's consistent around Sydney. I don't know how long it's been consistent for, but it's not unique to Campbelltown by any means.
Yeah, Fairfield did it before, and then Campbelltown decided to do it. That's just my rant about Campbelltown Hospital. Yeah,
no. Well, the new 12-story clinical service building, I've been in there a couple of times, and there's no question that that's fantastic. Like it's and we've redone emergency at the larger emergency department now, and and we've just got to make sure that that we can continually get the nurses and the doctors in there to fill and provide the services.
We need more happy doctors, Peter, and nurses, because they all look miserable.
Well, there's no question that they've been working overtime during COVID, on top of everything else that they do. Yeah, I get it. It's hard. Like as I said, I've got a sister who's a midwife, and and I listen to her a lot as well, and I listen to one of my other sisters who's a paramedic. About paramedics wait time in hospitals and so forth. But look, I think it's always going to be a challenge with the growing population. Look, I think that what we're trying to do by engaging and keeping more nurses on board. Look, I would say one thing that would help us, because I can tell you it happened pre-COVID. We used to have a number of international nurses come over. Whether they be from the Philippines, whether they be from Ireland or other countries, and I can say that from personal experience that I've had. So that makes it hard. We're not bringing some of those nurses, and it's not just nurses. It's actually probably impacting all industries those overseas skilled migration that we had. It'd be nice to see that being returned. I know we've got students coming, overseas students returning. It'd be nice to be able to see overseas workforces returning to those jobs that we as Australians can't fill.
Exactly. Awesome, Peter.